Imagine, if you will, a world where the echoes of nobility are but a distant murmur, overshadowed by the relentless rhythm of service. Tonight we embark on a journey not through the grand halls of kings and queens, but through the humble, often unseen corridors of those who kept the castle alive. These are the unsung heroes, the quiet custodians of history. Picture the scullery maid, her hands raw and red from the cold, scrubbing away the grime before the sun even dares to peek over the horizon. There's the spit boy, his arms trembling with fatigue as he turns the meat. His only company, the crackling fire, and his own determination. And what of the guard, his boots whispering against the stone as he patrols in the silence? A solitary sentinel in the night. This is not a tale of glory or grandeur, but of the quiet strength that courses through the veins of those who work without recognition. 10 lives, 10 days, all under one vast echoing roof, yet living in entirely different worlds. If these stories of soft, grounded history soothe your soul, I invite you to settle in. Take a deep breath. Let the fire crackle. Dim the lights. Here in this dim glow, we do not start with royalty, but with those who served beneath them. Good morning, though. Morning it is only in name. You're awake, not because you've rested, but because the cold stone beneath you has stolen every ounce of warmth from your bones. And yes, the cook has already trodden on you twice. This is the dawn for the scullery maid, where your value is measured not in coin, but in the cleanliness of the dishes you scrub. Unpaid, unwashed, and largely unnoticed. Your existence is marked by the warmth of the hearth, the only spot in the kitchen where the chill of the outside world slightly relents. Your bed, a sack of straw, has long forgotten the days when it was new now, carrying the scent of burnt fat and damp wood. This is where your day begins, in the heart of the castle, yet far from its heart. Your shift, a single garment of coarse, undyed wool, serves as both your nightwear and uniform. It has been boiled perhaps once this year, if at all. You rise before the sun, before the roosters, before even the gods stir, it seems. Why? Because the myriad tasks that must be completed before the nobles awaken fire, water, bread, cleaning, all fall upon your shoulders. Technically, you share this burden, but let's face the truth. The other girls have mastered the art of evasion when duties are doled out. You, however, either haven't learned this cunning trick, or perhaps were simply not born with enough guile. The hearth lies dormant, its embers extinguished overnight, a dire sign indeed. A scullery without a fire is as defenseless as a knight stripped of his armor. It's still dangerous, but mostly it's just pitiful. Barefoot, you step out into the inky darkness of the courtyard. Your shoes, having crumbled away last spring, now serve as makeshift insulation for the castle doors. The flagstones underfoot are slick and unforgiving. With hands numbed by the cold, you gather kindling oblivious to the splinters piercing your skin. Back inside, you huddle by the hearth, whispering coaxing words to the reluctant damp wood, your mind seething with frustration. Finally, the fire crackles to life, and you warm your fingers watching as they regain their color, no longer resembling those of a corpse. Now onto the next ordeal: water. The castle lacks modern conveniences like plumbing. Instead, it has you. You trudge to the well, hauling wooden buckets filled with gallons of water, balancing them on a yoke across your slender frame. Each trip is a battle against gravity, your arms aflame, your back howling in protest, your knees as wobbly as overcooked barley. And all this before breakfast. By the time the kitchen staff begins to trickle in, yawning, stretching, scratching themselves, you're on your fourth trip. No one offers a word of gratitude. No one even meets your gaze. To them, you are nothing more than living furniture, a fixture with legs as invisible as the air they breathe. Suddenly, the cook bursts into the kitchen like a tempestuous storm, her face flushed and beads of sweat already glistening on her brow. She's barking orders with the authority of a general, her wooden spoon, once a mere kitchen tool, now a scepter of discipline. "The stew pot is still crusty," she bellows, her voice echoing through the scullery. "This is your signal, your duty to return to the relentless scrubbing." There you are, your knuckles raw and bleeding, as you scrub away at the pots with nothing but ashes, sand, and lye. Oh, how it burns! The lye, when someone bothers to make it, scorches your skin, and the ash, with its gritty bite, leaves a mark. Your right hand bears a testament to this toil, a rough patch halfway between a callus and a chemical burn. The left, even worse off, tells a tale of hardship. This scullery, oh, how it masquerades as a place of work, but truly is a chamber of penance. No breath of fresh air here. The single window, choked with soot, never lets in a sliver of light. The air reeks of overboiled meat, and something else, something unmentionable. Your days are spent hunched over, scraping away layers of grease, swatting at the rats that rule this domain. Yes, the rats, they are the true proprietors of this place. You merely toil in their kingdom. Mid-morning creeps upon you, and hunger gnaws at your insides. Hidden in your apron is a piece of bread as dry as chalk, which you gnaw on furtively behind a doorway, feeling every bit the thief. But alas, you're spotted by a kitchen maid, and your fate is sealed latrine duty for the week. Ah, but there's more. Later, you're promoted to onion duty, a title that means nothing more than crying for 2 hours straight. You chop and chop until your face becomes a river of tears. No one questions your distress, assuming it's just the onions, or perhaps your lot in life. As noon approaches, the nobles partake in their first meal of the day. You, with dishes balanced precariously, step with precision, careful not to disturb their opulent peace. Keep your gaze averted at all times, for the nobles loathe being reminded that servants possess eyes, faces, thoughts, or any semblance of humanity. Imagine holding a portrait for an hour, your arms growing numb, yet never once being asked to pour a drink. That's the norm. After the feast, the cleanup begins. The same trenches, now slick with gravy, littered with bones, carelessly flung beneath tables, half-eaten pies, chewed grapes, and remnants of what might have once been fish. You scrape it all into the slot bucket. Although forbidden to keep scraps, you might dare to sneak a bite just once, just the crust, just the edge, just enough to keep you standing. As the afternoon fades into evening, tasks multiply. You haul more water peel, endless roots, mop floors, sweep halls, and somehow get blamed for the dog vomiting in the solar, a room you've never even seen. It doesn't matter. You were there in spirit. With the sun setting, dinner preparations ramp up, the kitchen growing louder, hotter. The hearth blazes, smoke thickens under the rafters. A pot crashes to the ground. The cook shrieks, and a fire nearly erupts. You smother it with your apron and press on. Allowed to eat again, you share a bowl with 4 other girls. The stew is thin with a floating root, a solitary grain of barley, and a dubious chunk that could be squirrel. But it's food and you eat it. Finally, dinner is served to the nobles. You stand nearby, a mere prop in someone else's grand drama. Your feet are soaked, your back stiff, your voice mute except to murmur, "Yes, cook. Sorry, cook." Or, "It won't happen again. Cook," regardless of whether you understand the fault. As night falls, the cycle of dishes resumes. Scrubbing away at bones stuck like medieval cement to the pans, your hands rough and red work tirelessly. How long can one endure such a life? How does one find solace in the shadows of such opulence, shivering not from the chill, but from the sheer exhaustion that clings to your bones like a relentless shadow? With a gruff dismissal, you are sent back to your meager sack by the hearth. The once roaring fire has dwindled to mere embers, their glow casting a somber light on your weary form. You huddle close to the stone, seeking solace in its residual warmth, your damp tunic clinging uncomfortably, reeking of smoked onions and the undeniable scent of fatigue. Beside you, someone has already surrendered to sleep, their breathing a soft, rhythmic escape from reality. Another soul weeps quietly nearby, their sorrow a silent echo in the night. You don't inquire, for the weight of knowing might just crush what little spirit you have left. You lie there, caught in the limbo between sleep and consciousness, your mind drifting back to the path that led you here. This life was not chosen. It was thrust upon you. Born into servitude, you followed in the footsteps of your mother, who toiled in the dairy until her spine could bear no more, and your aunt, who washed linens until the river's fever claimed her. Now it's your turn to carry the legacy of hardship, like a ladle passed down through generations with no escape in sight. There's no ladder to climb, no dream of becoming the cook or marrying the steward. The notion of being promoted to a lady's maid, learning embroidery under the gentle glow of candlelight, remains a distant, fantastical tale. Reality bites harder as you age, your hands growing more calloused, your movements slower. One day, they'll find you too old, too slow for the scullery, and you'll be replaced by someone younger, fresher, less weary. Thus, you learn to survive on the minutiae, the rhythm of the kitchen, the ebb and flow of servant alliances, the unwritten laws of enduring. Never challenge the cook's authority. Always share the driest bread with the girl who's suffering her monthly pains. Stay out of the steward's path, and if a noble's footsteps approach, move swiftly or face being crushed in body or in reputation. Gossip, the currency of the downtrodden, floats around. Whispers of the chamberlain's secret rendezvous with the lady-in-waiting, or perhaps his affection for the choir boy, weave through the air. Someone claims to have seen the night, but what of it? Here in this dim-lit corner of existence, you learn to listen, to survive, to endure. Imagine the chaos that ensues when there's a wedding or a feast at the castle. The halls are overrun, the guests multiply threefold, and the work tenfold. You find yourself caught in a whirlwind of frantic scrubbing and silent praying, where every moment stretches into an eternity of toil. By the time the nobles raise their glasses in celebration, your hands are raw, your spirit bruised. You're not just tired at the end of those nights. You're utterly hollow, a shell of the person who once reveled in the simple joys of life. And then comes winter, the harshest season, where your own cough and fever are no excuse for rest. You layer your worn shift with scraps, anything to fend off the biting cold. There are days when the water in your bucket turns to ice, before you can even make it back to the kitchen's warmth. Yet you persist, driven by the silent fear that if you falter, someone else will take your place. You've been taught that suffering in silence is a virtue, especially for someone in your position. Once upon a time, you had a name, a voice, a presence. Now you're just girl, or worse, a mere you there. In the grand tapestry of the castle, you're not the hero. You're just an invisible thread woven into the background. But without you, the very fabric would unravel. You rise before the sun, knowing the secrets of the castle's maintenance, how to silence a squeaky hinge with goose grease, which bucket holds the clean water, and how to scrub pans until they gleam like the coins you'll never possess. No statues are erected in your honor, no songs sung of your deeds. Yet, should you vanish tomorrow, the kitchen would crumble in a week. Your sleep is restless, your body aches, and your dreams are fleeting glimpses of green fields, sailing ships, or sometimes just emptiness. Each morning you awaken with a dry mouth and heavy limbs, stepping into another day that mirrors the last, a cycle unbroken by celebration or recognition. In this sweltering chamber of culinary chaos, you the spit boy stand unnoticed, save perhaps by the whimsical Lord Crumbs. Oh, the irony. Whether to offer you congratulations or condolences remains a perplexing dilemma, contingent upon your peculiar joy in pirouetting before the fierce, flickering flames, pondering the whimsical paths your young life has taken. Between the tender ages of 8 and 12, you've found yourself small enough to duck beneath the grand kitchen arch, yet mature enough to suppress tears each time the fire's kiss leaves its mark. Orphaned, sold, or perhaps persuaded by your parents' eloquent tales of opportunity, you've been anointed as the guardian of the roast. Perched on a stool, if fortune smiles upon you, you perform the solemn duty of turning the spit. With each deliberate clockwise revolution, you navigate the kitchen's symphony of commands. Stop! They might shout or critique your pace as either too sluggish or too brisk. Once a mere blink too many was deemed an act of insolence. The heat, oh, it's not just heat. It's an inferno akin to being baked alive within a half-cooked loaf. Your cheeks perpetually flushed, your hair perpetually damp, your tunic's hem perpetually singed, carrying the essence of every meat that's ever graced this fiery altar. The scent of roasting duck, once a delight, now ushers in the specter of migraines. Blisters are your constant companions. The kitchen offers no solace, no quarter. You're simply expected to become more adept at evasion. A blistered palm, bind it with a rag. Eyebrows singed away, await their regrowth. Should you faint, choose your collapse wisely to avoid catastrophe. Breaks. The meat has no patience for your weary arms, nor does the fire care for the sweat stinging your eyes. The nobles in their opulence demand their roast goose be spun at the precise angle and speed, ever expecting perfection in this dance of heat and humility. In the relentless pace of the kitchen, your very existence hangs by a thread, or more aptly by the spit you tirelessly rotate. On those festive days when the stakes are as high as the stakes themselves, the spit stretches longer, bearing the weight of colossal birds, entire pigs, and once an audacious deer. It took two of you to coax this behemoth around the fire. Your partner, with his wandering eye and a cruel twist to his mouth, would often release the crank at the most inopportune moments just to see you scramble in a flurry of panic. You've not caught a glimpse of him for a while now. Whispers in the corridors suggest he's been demoted to the kennels. You can only hope the dogs are more forgiving than he ever was. For hours you remain rooted to one spot, your knees losing all sensation, your back coiling into a knotted mess. Once your foot succumbed to such profound numbness, you feared permanent damage. The steward, ever dismissive, branded you as theatrical and pelted a turnip at your head. Around you, the kitchen erupts in a symphony of chaos. Voices raised in shouts, pots boiling over utensils clanging like discordant bells, and staff darting about with trays of oysters and jugs of wine. Yet amidst this tempest, you stand as the calm center, the unnoticed pivot. No one utters a word of gratitude. No one recalls your toil. But let that roast emerge uneven, and the blame finds its way to you, the silent turner. When the meat finally succumbs to the cook's satisfaction, you aid in its careful removal. The fat sizzles menacingly, the grease drips like a metronome, and any sign of hesitation or a flinch earns you a sharp rebuke or a stinging slap. Then, without pause, it's on to the next task. Another roast, a simmering stew, the pies that bake under a watchful eye, or the cauldron, its contents reeking of fermented onions and the stench of despair. Time. That's a luxury you've long forgotten. Your world is defined by the flicker of firelight and the gnawing void of hunger. If fortune smiles upon you, a bone might come your way, not in jest, but in earnest, a half-eaten relic with just enough flesh to mimic a meal. You retreat to a corner, devouring it with the hunched posture of a famished beast, before returning to the endless turning. By late afternoon, the fire's fierce heat has painted your cheeks a rosy hue, and your lips, parched and split, bear the brunt of the relentless warmth. Your hands, darkened by soot, are the testament to your toil, while your lungs, heavy with smoke, force coughs from you that seem to age you beyond your years. Still, you keep turning the repetitive motion as endless as the night. From above, the clatter of dishes and the laughter of nobles echo down a stark contrast to your reality. That world of cleanliness, brightness, and comfort is forbidden to you. Your existence ensures theirs remains untainted. The feast has ended, but your labor does not. Now you're tasked with the heavy trays of half-eaten meat, ferrying them back to the kitchen. You don't partake. Your role is to carry, to clean. You scrape bones into a slop bucket, rinse goblets, and drag the heavy roasting spit to the scullery. Your shoulder protests with each movement, and you ignore the blister that bursts beneath your palm, its sting a minor inconvenience compared to the weight of your duties. A shout pierces the air. The Lord demands a roast for his hounds. So the cycle begins anew. The dog's destined to dine better than you once more. The night deepens. Your tunic clings to your skin. Your hair stiffens with grease, and your hands tremble not just from exhaustion, but from the gnawing hunger as well. Finally, a bowl of pottage is yours, a simple brew of boiled grains and a few soft turnips. You consume it quietly in a corner, too weary for words, too drained for conversation. Everyone around you is equally spent, their spirits as dulled as the knives you clean. You meticulously scrub every tool, every surface, knowing the steward's inspection looms. A smear of fat could mean more scrubbing or worse, a degrading duty in the Lord's privy. As night descends like a thick, smothering smoke, the kitchen finally hushes, the last remnants of the day's clamor fading into silence. In the dim light of the fading fire, the clatter of pots settling into place brings a momentary pause to the cook's ceaseless barking. You find yourself slumping near the hearth, too weary to seek rest, too restless to succumb to sleep. A rat scurries by its passage unnoticed. You're simply too exhausted to react. Your thoughts drift to times past, to a life before this castle. Perhaps you were the son of a shepherd, or maybe your parents ground grain in a mill. Do they still? Have they forgotten you, or was your departure a necessity, one less mouth to feed? Is there really no escape from this grim existence? The best you can wish for is that your burns mend well, that your spine doesn't curve prematurely under the weight of your labor. If fortune favors, perhaps by 20, you'll rise to assistant cook should you last that long. Winter's cruelty knows no bounds. The castle's walls, thick as they are, do little to fend off the slicing drafts. Your position by the fire, which should be a sanctuary of warmth and light, instead becomes a test of endurance. One side of your body bakes in the relentless heat, while the other succumbs to the icy grip of the cold. You turn like a piece of meat on a spit, a human kebab caught between fatigue and frostbite. Shoes, a luxury you can't afford. Instead, you bind your feet with scraps, avoiding puddles where you can. Each step you take is accompanied by the creaking of your knees, like the hinges of an ancient door. When you crouch, you doubt you'll ever straighten again. There are days your fingers, stiff from both the cold and the burns, seem almost fused to the spit. Your health, a distant memory. Your cough has woven itself into your very essence. Your skin, once whole, now peels from heat rash, only to crack in the biting cold. You carry the scent of burnt fat, a stench that ironically repulses rather than attracts. Your forearm, charred repeatedly, resembles nothing less than overcooked meat. No one offers relief. The apothecary, a distant, unattainable dream. Imagine being the lowest rung on the ladder of nobility, where your existence is defined by the pig lard you must rub onto the roasting meat, turning it ceaselessly under the watchful eyes of your superiors. You are beneath everyone in the kitchen hierarchy, below the kitchen maids, the butcher's assistant, even the boy who fetches eggs. You are the very bottom, scraping the depths of servitude. The dog that scavenges for bones holds a higher status than you do. At least it gets the scraps. Your week's highlight. A mere nod from the steward. A fleeting acknowledgement that barely pierces the monotony of your days. Have you ever paused in the midst of your toil to wonder about a life beyond this kitchen? A life where you aren't bound by the spit, where freedom isn't just a distant dream, but reality snaps you back. Spit boys don't leave. They either ascend to other servitudes, or they don't ascend at all. You settle back into your familiar spot beside the fire, your legs folded, your arms wrapped around your knees. The flames have dwindled, yet your skin still screams from yesterday's blisters, now raw and weeping. Gazing into the coals, you ponder the sensation of warmth that doesn't burn a feeling you've never truly known. Outside, snowflakes dance in the cold night air, while inside the meat sizzles with promise. And there you are, caught in the middle, forgotten. Ignored, turning the spit as you've always done. Did you know? In every castle or town there's a need for someone to handle the waste. That someone is you. You're the gong farmer, a title that masks the grim reality of your profession removing human filth. If it goes into the chamber pot, you retrieve it. If it finds its way into the latrine, you're there to get it back out. You are at the bottom of the bottom, dealing with the literal cesspit of society. Surprisingly, this job pays better than some, but don't let that fool you. It's because no one else dares to do it. Your shift begins at night, not by choice, but because no one wants to acknowledge your existence in the light of day. The pungent stench that trails behind you like an unwelcome specter, a constant companion that whispers of your presence long before you arrive. Oh, how the townsfolk recoil, their noses wrinkling in disgust as they hasten to cross the street, feigning ignorance of your existence. You, the bearer of the most thankless task, banned from the bustling markets, until you've attempted to wash away the stench that seems to have taken root within your very paws. Your attire, a testament to your occupation, is an amalgamation of thick wool moss and whatever else you can scavenge in a futile attempt to mask the odor. But alas, the scent is relentless, seeping through every layer, a testament to its tenacity. No barrier can hold it at bay. It finds its way as it always does. Your duty, though simple in description, is harrowing in execution. You descend into the abyss of the cesspits, where the earth has been forced to swallow the refuse of the castle and town for half a year. With tools in hand, a rake, a bucket, a shovel, you step into the darkness. A ladder, if you're fortunate, a rope if luck is on your side, but more often than not, it's just you and the pit. The smell assaults you, a brutal, suffocating wave that feels like a physical blow, steeped in despair and decay. It stings, your eyes clings to your tongue, and you wonder in those moments what sequence of life's decisions brought you here. Breathing through your mouth offers no respite. Instead, it allows you to taste the horror. Down you go, boots squelching against the slick, decomposing mass. The pit varies in depth. An ankle here, a knee there, and in the mind's eye, bottomless. You rake through layers of filth, the recent waste foul but manageable. The ancient layers where nightmares ferment. Gray sludge, black crusts, and slick, bubbling masses that seem almost alive with malevolence. You do not question, you dig. And what do you unearth? The detritus of human life, waste both animal and human, shattered pottery straw, soaked in unidentifiable fluids, remnants of meals, scraps of fabric, the occasional dead rat, and once startlingly a chicken, its origins, a mystery that remains unsolved. In the depths of the castle's underbelly, you descend, bearing the weight of your grim task with a semblance of dignity. Occasionally, fortune smiles upon you, and amidst the filth, you discover coins hastily dropped by nobles in their rush to relieve themselves. These small treasures you keep, they are, after all, your rightful spoils. Bucket after bucket, you labor, filling it to the brim. Then, with a heave, you hoist it up and empty its contents into your cart. A rickety, complaining box on wheels that seems to groan with every load. This cycle repeats, sometimes doubling in frequency after the castle's lavish feasts. Under the cover of night, lit only by the flickering torches, you perform this unseen ballet of sanitation, for the sight of your toil would disturb those who dwell in comfort above. Silence reigns in the cesspit. No words are spoken for what could be said in such a place. Once your cart brims with what ancient texts so delicately term night soil, you trundle through the slumbering streets. The wheels carve tracks in the dirt, and the air itself seems to recoil in your wake. Passers-by, if any dare venture out at this hour, shield their faces or whisper prayers, while one bold child once hurled a cabbage in your direction. In a moment, not of pride, you retaliated. Beyond the town walls, at the dumping grounds near the fields, lies your true purpose. Here, the waste you've so painstakingly gathered transforms into the very essence of medieval recycling fertilizer. The same nobles who shun your gaze are unwittingly consuming vegetables nurtured by their own refuse. What irony! By the first light of dawn, your dumping is complete, but your work is far from over. Returning to your quarters, you attempt to cleanse your tools in a pond already tainted by your labors. Boots, clothes, hands, all are scrubbed. Yet the stench persists, clinging like a second skin. Your neighbors, with their knowing glances, keep their distance at mealtimes. Some refuse to even share a table. Yet you remind yourself this is honest work, vital work. If only they understood. As the days wear on and the workers vanish, the castle's heart would plunge into squalor within a mere week. You're no knight in shining armor, but you are the thin line standing between civilization and a mire of misery. Most days, solitude accompanies you at the table, where even the simplest bread tastes like despair, not from charring, but from the pervasive odor of decay. You turn to ale not merely for taste, but for survival, as the water is tainted, and sobriety in the face of your grim duties feels like self-infliction of the harshest kind. Winter. Oh, winter. It's not the cold that gnaws at your bones, though it does. It's the relentless freeze. The filth turns to ice. Your hands stiffen, and your breath, a fleeting warmth, turns to icy regret. You wield a shovel not to dig, but to break through the frozen layers, only to reveal the steaming, reeking reality below. It's the only instance where warmth brings you nothing but sorrow. And when summer arrives, it does not bring relief. Instead, it bakes the filth, sending the stench skyward, attracting swarms of flies and wasps for reasons beyond your comprehension. Sweat drenches your clothes, seeping through your very shoes. Desperate, you've tried everything to mask the reek: vinegar, crushed herbs, even mint leaves rubbed onto your skin, only to transform the stench into a bizarre floral nightmare. Behind your back, they whisper, "Smells like a gong farmer." They just assuming your intellect is as low as the muck you handle. But you know better. You've mastered the art of balancing on a ladder with one leg while hoisting 40 pounds of waste with the other. You understand the safest sides of the cesspit after a downpour, and which oils to use that won't ignite in methane pockets. That's knowledge, or something akin to it. Here's the irony. Despite the scorn you earn more than most servants. Yes, this one of the most reviled medieval professions actually pays quite well. Not opulently, of course. You still reside in a solitary hut on the castle's edge. But there's a peculiar dignity in your toil, a silent testament to your indispensable role in the grand tapestry of this medieval life. In the shadowed outskirts of town, you toil in a profession that others shun, far removed from the simple earthy tasks of a cook's helper or a baker's boy. Why, you might ask, would anyone choose to crawl through what you do? Yet this is your unique burden, your reluctant claim to sustenance. As the night stretches into dawn, your work is finished. With a weary heart, you guide your empty cart back to its resting place. Your shovel finds its spot against the wall, a silent testament to your labor. You settle onto a log not for its cleanliness, but for its mere existence. When the stench clings too fiercely, you resign to sleep under the open sky, your wife's insistence ringing in your ears. Your children, with their innocent honesty, remark that you reek of boiled cabbage and sin, and you can't muster the words to refute them. They are right. The scent, it lingers, infiltrating even the sanctuary of your dreams. Your hands, once familiar and human, now resemble tools of toil with skin forever split and nails blackened by dirt. No amount of soaking can erase the calluses that have become a part of you. You've given up on cleanliness. The cost of soap outweighs the remnants of your pride. Once your senses danced with the fragrance of flowers, the crisp scent of grass, the comforting aroma of burning wood. Now your nose broken, not in form, but in spirit, perceives only decay. Even if a cart of apples trundled by, you'd suspect them spoiled. You've been irrevocably altered. The castle guards, in their jesting camaraderie, throw quips your way like, "Don't fall in." Their laughter hollow and repetitive echoes around you. You offer a strained smile, feigning amusement. But when one guard, in a moment of cruel sport, pushed you perilously close to the pit's edge, your smile was nowhere to be found. Occasionally, in the rare tranquility of sleep, you dream of becoming someone else, a baker perhaps, or a scribe, living a life untainted by the stench of your current existence. But upon waking, the reality of your hands, still pungent with the night's work, pulls you back. You wash your face, adjust your sackcloth tunic, and with a resigned breath, return once more to the pit. As the first light of dawn breaks, you hoist your final bucket, your last scrape echoing in the quiet morning. The sky, now a somber shade of gray, seems to mourn the night's passing. With each rooster's crow, the castle stirs, oblivious to your silent labors. The nobles soon to rise will relieve themselves into their gilded bowls, blissfully unaware of the unseen world that thrives beneath their feet. You, however, will slip back into the shadows, your presence as unnoticed as the scent you carry. This is your fate, your duty, your daily existence. O the gong farmer, cleaner of kingdoms, yet forgotten by all but the flies that buzz around you. Your shoes, stiff leather, curling at the toes, are a badge of your slightly elevated status among the castle staff. They squeak, unfortunately breaking the silence that your role demands. You are the apprentice to the chamberlain, a position that requires you to carry ledgers, commit inventories to memory, and feign understanding of lofty terms like protocol and accountability. You are not noble, banish the thought, but you are a servant with unique privileges. You enter chambers others merely clean. You witness scenes most peasants could never fathom. You retrieve parchment scribble numbers and keep your composure even when the countess shrieks about her linens reeking of goat. Your day begins before the lords in the servants' hall by the comforting warmth of the good fire, far from the rat-cooking hearths and piss-warming buckets. With a splash of water to your face, a quick comb through your hair with your fingers, and a brisk brush of your tunic with your sleeve, you prepare for the day. Presentation matters after all. Your first task, candles. You tread softly through the corridors, replacing burnt stubs with fresh tallow tapers. Beeswax, a luxury, is reserved for the chapel and the great hall alone. For everyone else, it's the cheaper tallow it sent, a subtle reminder of the sheep it once belonged to. As you glide from one chamber to another, you observe, you note. You remember every detail, every discrepancy, every whisper of the castle's secrets. Ah, the art of noticing, a skill you must master in your second role. Every detail, no matter how seemingly trivial, must be observed with the keen eye of a hawk. When the salt cellar runs low, you jot it down with urgency. Should the wine stock mysteriously dwindle, your investigation begins with a fervent zeal. And when the chamber pot in the guest room overflows, oh, you delegate that unsavory task with a swiftness that would make even the most seasoned diplomat envious. Tradition, after all, dictates that you pass the buck downwards. But let us not forget the ever-watchful chamberlain, a man whose sleep is but a myth. His eyes always open, his senses always sharp. His presence is marked by the faint scent of ink and dried lavender, a testament to his meticulous nature. His robes, always pristine, speak of a man who expects perfection, who knows of your errors even before they come to pass. He speaks in lists, his voice a monotone of efficiency. 2 bolts of wool and broadcloth, 4 barrels of lamp oil, 1 visiting friar with dietary demands that teeter on the edge of heresy. You nod your pen, dancing across the parchment, praying that no ink will spill again. The memory of last time haunts you when you were forced to recopy an entire month's ledger under the dim glow of candlelight, the steward's pickled herring breath, a relentless whisper in your ear. Your role: a tapestry of clerk, courier, and scapegoat. When the linens vanish, it's on your shoulders. When the firewood is damp, the blame finds its way to you. Even when the Lord's hunting dog leaves an unexpected gift in the guest stairwell, somehow it's still your fault. The morning inspections are a parade of silent diligence. You shadow the chamberlain, a scribbling ghost, in the grand halls as he taps walls, inspects beddings, samples, wines and sniffs the rushes. You nod, you record, you suppress the sighs. Once a yawn escaped you, and you spent the rest of the day sorting dry peas by size and color, a task so mundane it could drive one to madness. In this castle, envy is a rare emotion, but if there's one soul you might envy, it's the cook's dog. At least it can bark without consequence. But for you, lunch is no respite. It's a logistical puzzle. Who eats what, when, where, and with whom? The intricacies of dining arrangements are a labyrinthine challenge, each decision a potential misstep in this grand dance of service and servitude. The delicate dance of diplomacy within the castle walls. Seated strategically, you ensure no ancient grudges flare over something as trivial as pigeon pie. With seating charts in hand, you navigate the labyrinth of etiquette, whispering reminders of who's not speaking to whom, since that infamous Lent wine debacle between Lady Cressida and Lord Aldrich. The meal concludes, and the air shifts to the meticulous scrutiny of accounts in the solar. Across from you sits the chamberlain, his eyes sharp. As you recite each entry, wax fish, salt horseshoes, ink, wool, barley, mead, soap. The list drones on an endless chant of the castle's needs. He quizzes you abruptly. The weight of a cusk, or the yield of loaves from a stone of flour. Hesitation earns a raised eyebrow, a silent scold more piercing than any slap. Then the castle's doors swing open to visitors nobles from distant estates. A knight-errant and a cousin whose presence between holdings seems almost mystical. They bring not just trunks, but inflated egos and peculiar dietary demands. You lead them to their chambers, documenting every piece of linen with the diligence of a scribe, knowing full well that, while no one will thank you, someone will surely blame you when items mysteriously disappear. And then there are the keys. Oh, the keys. Not just any keys, but the armory key, the wine cellar key, the enigmatic upstairs wardrobe key that fits no known lock, yet holds its own importance. These you guard with a fervor tied securely to your belt, touching them with the reverence one reserves for sacred objects. The thought of losing them sends shivers down your spine. A career-ending catastrophe. Perhaps even worse than permanent latrine duty. As the day wanes, the focus shifts from lists to logistics. A late shipment of salted herring, a missing bolt of velvet, a priest snoring on the chapel floor, a kitchen out of vinegar and stables desperate for hay. The steward's opinions flow like a river, and you ever the diplomat, listen, nod, and craft responses with the chamberlain's finesse. The castle's heart beats on, and you, its humble pulse, ensure it continues to thrive amidst the chaos. Indeed, you find yourself crafting love notes, an enchanting task that unfolds in the most unexpected manner. Yes, truly, a noble lady insists on this antiquated form of communication, dictating her sentiments from behind a velvet curtain. There she sits, a vision of elegance, feeding her lapdog strawberries, dipped in cream as you capture her words. Your task is to weave her thoughts into eloquent prose, to edit out the occasional eccentricity, and deliver these wax-sealed tokens of affection to a knight. His cheeks flush with the warmth of a baker's oven each time he unfurls one of these missives. As evening descends, you move through the halls with a taper in one hand and a snuffer in the other. rekindling extinguished flames and trimming wicks that burn too eagerly. The castle grows quieter, the nobles indulging in their cups, the servants taking their well-earned breaths. Here you are, caught between worlds not quite belonging to either, yet essential to both. Your duties extend to checking the guest rooms, ensuring no one has met an untimely end. No wine has been spilled, no elopements have occurred without the proper formalities. By this hour your feet ache, your head throbs, and your fingers bear the marks of wax and ink. Food has not passed your lips since morning, and you must wait until the chamberlain has concluded his supper to be dismissed. At times, he forgets leaving you to wait outside his chamber, your chin resting in your palm, as he regales a bored page boy with tales of his youth. The boy no doubt dreams of knighthood, while you doze, your stomach echoing with emptiness. Finally, the door creaks open. A dismissive flick of the chamberlain's fingers, a murmured, "Thank you," and you retreat to the servants' quarters. Your bunk, narrow and cold, awaits. The fire has long since died, your blanket mysteriously vanished. You lie there, still clad in your work attire, staring at the ceiling, pondering the scent of power, tallow ink, sweat, and a hint of lavender. You once thought proximity to nobility would be thrilling, that you would uncover secrets, understand the machinations of power. Now, having heard the secrets, all you can wonder is, what does it really smell like? Oh, how the mundane can wear on the soul. Mostly your days revolve around the trivialities of hemorrhoids, pilfered pastries, and the endless game of who finds whom utterly insufferable. Power. It's merely a series of new rules, a labyrinth of new ways to stumble and falter. The chamberlain prattles on about discipline, but what you're truly learning is the art of exhaustion. You've mastered the art of being invisible, yet indispensable, a ghost in the bustling castle present, but perpetually overlooked. They're whispers of a promotion, a glimmer of hope, perhaps. Maybe one day you'll ascend to be the assistant to the steward, or find yourself managing the sale of her books. Or perhaps, more realistically, you'll continue this dance until your back succumbs to the strain, or your eyes dim from the endless nights poring over numbers by candlelight. No pension awaits, just a gradual, inevitable decline. Yet, you persist, don't you? Your work is the thread that stitches together the chaos. The castle relies on your silent diligence, on your meticulous care to ensure the salt stock aligns with the winter ration plans. Because if you falter, someone will notice, and the delicate balance will tip. Your nights are filled with the soft counting of barrels, your dreams an inventory of goods. The first bell rings still in darkness, and you rise, your legs aching, your shoes squeaking a protest as you stretch. It's time to reignite the candles and start anew. The other servants barely tolerate you now. You're not one of them anymore. Your clothes are cleaner, your vocabulary peppered with terms like allocation and inventory. Yet, you're not of the nobility either. They forget your name even as you light their paths and refill their inkwells. You exist in this limbo, a living testament to how power trickles down like a slow drizzle, while responsibility floods upward like a torrent. And still, you show up, for your presence is what keeps the castle standing. Tomorrow, just like today, you'll carry the lists, count the candles, and bear the blame for every mishap. Your day begins, as always, in a barn. The relentless cycle of life in the stables, a world that never truly slumbers, as dawn's first light tiptoes through the frosty air. The horses rouse their breath, puffing out like ethereal clouds, their hooves tapping a gentle rhythm on the straw-covered floor. You, the humble stable boy, are the unsung hero of this equine realm. Your days are filled with the grunt work, shoveling, brushing, hauling, often punctuated by the sting of a misaimed hoof. Yet in this menagerie of muscle and mane, you find yourself apologizing to beings more regal and well-fed than you could ever hope to be. Your sleeping quarters, if one could dignify them with such a term, perch precariously above the main stable. Sleep, it's more like a state of suspended animation, with the thin floorboards transmitting every swish of a tail, every stamp of a hoof. And yes, even the less glamorous sounds of nature's call right next to your makeshift pillow. Dawn finds your hands already chapped, your body cloaked in the same stiff boots and tunic sour with the scent of hard labor. Descending the ladder, the cold seizes you a divine slap that jolts you into action. Stall by stall you work, shoveling, pitching, shoveling again. It's a thankless task, barely bearable, but absolutely necessary. The master of horse must not find his domain in disarray, or else your morning will be marred by a split lip and a sermon on discipline. You must move with precision, not haste. Haste spooks the horses, and a spooked horse is a tempest of fury more formidable than any irate noble. They bite, they rear, they crush. You've suffered. 2 fingers, broken ribs, bruised, coughing blood for days. Yet amidst this hardship, your heart swells with a peculiar fondness for these majestic creatures. They are truthful. They do not shout. They do not feign superiority. The stable, with its pungent mix of hay manure and horse sweat, is both worse and infinitely better than the castle's opulence. You've become part of this world, your senses attuned to the subtleties of equine health and temperament, knowing the scent of a vigorous stallion versus one in distress. Here in this humble earthy realm, you find a strange, serene solace. With a keen eye on the colic, you can discern a horse's nervousness through its very breath. These noble creatures possess an understanding that often surpasses that of humans. Once the stalls are cleared, your next task is to fetch the feed. Heavy sacks of oats and towering bales of hay await in the loft. You lower them one by one, mindful of your back, recalling the agony of last winter's strain. The master had scoffed. He's faking it, before hurling a bridle at your head. The delicate dance of feeding. Some horses are voracious, others timid, and a few ever so crafty might snap at your hand if you time your approach poorly. Your hands bear the scars of such encounters. You soothe them with gentle pats on their necks, inspect their hooves, and murmur sweet nothings to keep them serene. They recognize your voice, these majestic beasts, and place their trust in you more than any noble ever could. As the morning progresses, grooming takes precedence. You wield the brush with practiced ease, curry their coats, clean their hooves, and meticulously untangle their manes. Burrs are plucked, noses are wiped, and the dung, the endless scooping of dung. If the Lord is to ride you, polish the tack until it shines like the sun itself. Not for the Lord's notice, but for the eagle-eyed master of horse. Any flaw, and it's your skin that bears the brunt, not the leather. Then there are the times when nobles parade their dogs into the stable. Hunting dogs all pedigree and no patience, leaving chaos in their wake. You clean up after them too, without so much as a nod of gratitude. But when the Lord in his caprice decides to ride always at the last minute, the stable erupts into a frenzy. You saddle his finest gelding, the one that recoils at a touch, checking the straps thrice over. The bit is wiped clean, and the stirrups set just so, always too short, because in the realm of the elite, fashion trumps function. And then you step back, waiting as the world spins on. In the stillness of the stables, you stand a silent sentinel as he mounts his steed. If the horse so much as shifts uneasily, the blame lands squarely on your shoulders. Should the noble creature slip in the mire or suffer a broken nail, the echo of your fault reverberates through the weeks. Meanwhile, your hands are busy fetching water as fresh as a mountain spring, sweeping the yard to a spotless sheen, stacking hay, until your muscles scream for mercy. The scent of leather and the musk of horse sweat weave into your very skin, a pungent perfume of your toil. Your body aches with a pain that sings of relentless labor. Your shoulders cry out, your arms pulse with fatigue, and muscles you never knew you had now protest their existence. You earn moments of respite, but these are far from restful. Seated on a creaking stool, you sip tepid ale from a battered tin cup, watching as dust motes dance through the air like weary spirits. Silence is your companion. Your jaw, clenched from the strain, refuses to loosen. Yet the horses still require their grooming, their coats brushed to a lustrous sheen. Winter brings its own brand of torment. Your fingers, even sheathed in gloves, lose all feeling, turning as numb as the frost-kissed earth. The water troughs freeze solid, and the breath of the horses curls into the frigid air, a ghostly mist akin to dragon's smoke. You wield a hammer against the ice, shattering it, just to quench their thirst. Do they know, those within the castle walls, that the stable offers no shield against the biting cold? Summer, on the other hand, turns you into a walking furnace. Sweat drenches your tunic, your shirt seeping into your very soul. As evening descends, so do the flies. A swarm of buzzing nuisances gathering in the corners like tiny airborne curses. You swat at them with half-hearted swipes while you clean the last of the stalls. An older mare, restless, has soiled her bedding. Thrice this day bad weather looms. You can feel it in your bones in the shift of the air before the sky even whispers its intent. Again, you sweep, you rake, you scrub the troughs with a brush that's seen better days, its bristles long since gone. No one replaces. In the quiet corners of the stable where shadows play and light dances, you find solace in the unnoticed moments. The master of horse, with his gruff demeanor, inspects the horses one last time before the night claims the day. His grunts signal approval. His yells demand perfection. You've grown adept at gauging your day by the proximity of his voice, a barometer of your success or failure. Amidst the chores, you pilfer a few carrots, a secret shared only with the horses. For the gray mare, whose gentle disposition spares you her teeth, and for the chestnut wary of strangers, but not of you. These are tokens of your silent bond. Their soft muzzles press against your palm, a fleeting touch of warmth in a world often cold. As twilight fades, you ascend the ladder to your loft, your sanctuary above the stables. Your bed, a humble mound of rags and straw, carries the scent of mildew and the essence of saddle oil. Clothes remain on. There's little point in undressing when dawn will soon summon you back to work. Lying there, you surrender to the sounds, the rhythmic breathing of the horses, the persistent whispers of the wind against the wooden walls. Dreams come filled with the cadence of hoofbeats, a symphony of your daily life. Before the sun dares to peek over the horizon, you rise again. At court, your name remains a mystery, overshadowed by the generic boy, despite your nearing adulthood. Your back aches like a castle drawbridge bearing the weight of your duties. When you traverse the grand halls, noses wrinkle not from disdain, but from the stark reminder of the life you lead, one they'd rather not acknowledge. Yet, there are those who acknowledge you. A nod here, a crust of bread from the kitchen maid, there a grunt of recognition from the blacksmith. Once a knight moved by your gentle touch with his anxious stallion, before battle bestowed upon you a silver coin. This coin you keep not for its worth, but as a testament to your existence, a small but significant defiance against invisibility. You understand your place in this grand tapestry. There's no staircase from stable boy to steward, no enchanted brush to transform into a sword. Knighthood or squirehood is not your destiny. But in the heart of the stables where you reign supreme in your own quiet way, you know the language of animals. And that in itself is a profound gift, a secret strength, a whispered promise of significance. In the dimly lit stables, you become the silent guardian of equine health, mastering the art of dressing wounds, soothing fears, and detecting early signs of lameness. Your presence, though often unnoticed, carries a weight of indispensable care. You've witnessed the fate of those less resilient boys who crumbled under the harshness of life here. They vanish into the night, leaving behind unanswered questions. Yet you remain steadfast, performing your duties with a bowed head, finding solace in the consistency of your routine. When the skies open up, the stables weep through their cracks. In the heat of summer, the hay succumbs to rot. And in the biting chill of winter, your breath crystallizes on the rafters. But amidst this, the horses stand their warm breaths, a testament to their trust in you, a bond that speaks louder than any spoken word. Is there not something profoundly moving about this? The simple act of closing your eyes, surrendering to the rhythmic symphony of hooves rustling in straw, the gentle creak of wood, and the soft, non-judgmental exhalations of these majestic creatures. This is your sanctuary where tomorrow's dawn promises another day of quiet duty. You are not here for accolades. There are none to be had. You stay because the horses know your voice. They greet you with a gentle nicker when they hear your boots. In a world rife with commands, deceit, and retribution, here you are trusted not for your lineage or your name, but for your gentle touch, your soothing words, your attentive ear. How rare, how precious Is this trust even within the confines of a grand castle? Each morning you awaken to find yourself sharing your humble bed with a turnspit dog. His short legs and elongated body, a comical yet pitiful sight, sprawl across your straw, his fur a tapestry of kitchen grease and perhaps duck fat. You don't mind. In fact, his warmth is a comfort, his scent a mild improvement over that of your fellow workers. As the keeper of these peculiar creatures, you are the unseen, tireless link between the nobility's feasts and the medieval treadmill, where these dogs' toil turns the spit roasting the meat to perfection. Oh, the unsung hero of the kitchen. That's you, the guardian of the roast, the one tasked with ensuring our four-legged friends don't collapse in the heat of duty. Your shift begins before the flames dance with a stretch that snaps your back into action and a step into something. Hopefully water, though likely not. The dogs, sensing the impending ordeal, are a bundle of nerves. You wrestle the first contender from his resting spot, a stubborn canine named Snipe. He nips at you, a gentle rebuke for his third day on the spit. You soothe his ruffled spirits with a gentle ear rub, a whispered, "I'm sorry," and guide him into the kitchen where the fires already smolder and the cook is in a fit over Swan again. The turn-spit wheel awaits, resembling a hamster wheel, if hamsters were burdened with the weight of 30 pounds and the scars of job-related trauma. Snipe reluctantly crawls inside and you secure the gate behind him. He starts to walk, and the spit begins its slow, hypnotic spin. Now your role shifts from handler to overseer. You watch time, bribe, and plead. The art lies in coaxing the dogs to keep moving, a delicate balance of encouragement and rest. Should Snipe falter, the roast suffers, and the cook's wrath informs both hot and sharp rains down upon you. If he stops entirely, the spit jerks, the meat slips, and you're suddenly the villain who ruined Christmas despite it being May. There are 4 dogs in total, and you rotate them like wheels on a cart, ensuring 2 are always on duty, while the others rest. Though rest is a relative term. They lie there, twitching, whining, gnawing at old bones as you massage their weary legs, whispering words of encouragement, as if training canine gladiators for the arena. And the wheels, you clean them too, not out of obligation, but necessity to silence their squeaks that could otherwise bring the cook's temples to the brink of collapse. You've learned this lesson the hard way. There was that month when a mid-banquet squeal earned you a ladle to the forehead. Sometimes the Lord himself walks through the kitchen, a silent figure amidst the chaos. He doesn't address you directly, merely nodding vaguely toward the meat, murmuring something about its earthy flavor. That flavor, it's your sweat, perhaps. A dash of dog hair. You're welcome, my lord. Feeding the dogs is a gamble, a secret dance with fate. They're not supposed to have scraps from the noble table, but you sneak them bits of goose fat or gravy-soaked crusts when no one's looking. They love you for it, until one nearly bites your thumb off last week. Burns. Oh, they're as common as the air you breathe. Your forearms are a tapestry of scars like ancient parchment. The kitchen, it's a furnace, a relentless blaze. Even in the coldest winter, a wall of smoke, heat, and shouting. In summer, it becomes a divine punishment, a hellish inferno where the fire never truly dies. Even at night, it smolders a constant companion to your restless sleep nearby, close enough to be useful, yet far enough to be forgotten. The ash you inhale turns your snot black. Your cough echoes like a dying bellows, and your eyes, always red, at least hide the tears. You used to believe dogs were cheerful, loyal, and friendly, didn't you? Now you see the truth. These are not pets. They are working dogs, bred for endurance, not companionship. They don't crave affection. They crave your bread. If you're late, they stage a rebellion. You once entered the wheel room to find 3 of them in a circle, casually chewing on your shoe. No one taught you how to train them. You've learned through trial error, and yes, blood loss. You keep a stick nearby, not with joy, but out of necessity. You don't like using it, but what choice do you have? But oh, how they resist. At times, these creatures, these canine companions, refuse to run the wheel. They plant their paws firmly into the ground, their eyes wide with confusion, staring at you as if to say, "Why must I partake in this endless jest?" You've given them names, each one a character in this peculiar play. Snipe, Button, Moors. And then there's Guts, the formidable one. He's only friendly when the scent of bacon grease wafts through the air. Otherwise, he's as stormy as a brewing tempest snapping at your heels with the ferocity of a beast off duty. Do you ever wonder if he perceives the world through the same tired, greasy, smoky lens as you do? Once a noble child, a vision of innocence wandered into the kitchen. Her eyes lit up as she exclaimed, "Look, a spinning puppy!" Her delight was pure infectious, and you couldn't help but smile back. But her tutor, with a swift yank, pulled her away, shooting you a look of disdain, as if you'd tainted her with some unseemly spectacle. You remained silent as always, your words caught in the throat of your station. Over time, your posture has transformed. Years of ducking beneath low beams, bending over dog pens, and handling iron spits fresh from the fire have sculpted your body into a permanent stoop. Your hands, once smooth, are now a map of calluses and burns telling tales of toil. Your knees protest with the coming of rain, a reminder of the years you've accumulated. At 17, you once harbored dreams of becoming a falconer, envisioning yourself with birds on a leather glove, wandering through forests, squinting at the sky with a knowing gaze. But now, the constant drumming of paws on the wheel drowns out even the call of birds. In those rare, quiet moments, you find solace by the back door just out of sight. There, moored in the quiet, one curls up beside you. She demands nothing, just breathes a warm, reassuring presence. For a minute, perhaps 2, you rest your head against the wall, sharing a silent moment with this gentle soul, until the bell rings, shattering the peace, calling you back to the relentless rhythm of your life. Once more, the relentless cycle demands its due, more meat, more spinning. Yet, who acknowledges the tireless efforts of the dog? Who acknowledges you? As night descends, you cleanse the grease from your arms with sand and whispered prayers. Curled up amidst the straw, you find solace in the slow rhythmic breathing of slumbering dogs and the fading sizzle of fat in the hearth. Dreams come not of escape, but of pure, unadulterated freedom, just running unburdened by the world's weight. The wheel, an emblem of your existence, keeps its relentless turn. Sometimes through the walls you catch snippets of the nobles' conversations about the quaint charm of rustic kitchens. They revel in the decor, the succulent roasted swan, the aromatic herbs they believe are gifts from the garden. Not realizing these are the fruits of the scullery maid's labor harvested in the dead of night barefoot. They are oblivious to your presence, to the dog's existence. If they notice at all, it's as a quaint detail, perhaps, for the minstrels to weave into their songs. The turning hounds of House Waxford, they might call it utterly ignorant of the truth. You overheard a bard once proclaiming that turnspit dogs relish their exercise. The irony nearly choked you with silent laughter. Here in this relentless grind, you've learned a peculiar patience. You do not argue, do not complain. You simply keep the wheel turning. Your days are filled with feeding the dogs, mending their injuries, cleaning the wheel, and praying for an uneventful end. You've witnessed horrors last year. A boy's hand was caught in the gears. He's no longer here. His fate unknown, perhaps a casualty, or merely someone else's burden. Behind a beam concealed, you keep a small cloth pouch. Inside, treasures of a meager life. A piece of cheese, saved for a special moment. A button, crafted into a flower, and a dog's tooth. Guts lost it on a day particularly harsh. You hold on to it as a sacred relic, a testament that even the fiercest among us can fracture under the strain. Your ears still ring from the incessant shouting, from the harsh, unyielding commands. The relentless heat from the perpetual spin of the wheel sears through your very bones, leaving you in a perpetual state of ache. Your stomach, never quite sated, rumbles in discontent, a constant companion in your toil. Yet amidst this endless drudgery, a fleeting moment of connection arrives, perhaps, once in a blue moon, when one of the dogs, after a long, exhausting run, gently nuzzles your arm. In that brief, almost surreal moment, you feel truly seen, not by the cold, unyielding castle or the indifferent cook, but by a creature of warmth and life. And for that fleeting instant, it is enough. In a place where kindness is scarce, where even a warm side or a steady breath is a treasure, these small acts of living kindness become lifelines. The fire in the hearth never ceases, nor does the wheel halt its ceaseless turning. You drift into sleep, lulled by the rhythmic patter of paws on wood, only to awaken to the same sound, as if time itself were caught on a spit, slowly rotating through the night. You rise before the dawn, the castle walls offering no respite from the cold that seeps into your very marrow. The embers in the hall have long since dyed your breath, visible in the frigid air above your rough blanket. Sitting up, your joints protest stiff from yesterday's grueling labor. Your hands, though not yet touched by water, are already sore, anticipating the day's harsh demands. Here you are, destined for water, soap, fire, and the pain they bring. Dressing quickly, you pull on a damp woolen shirt. Its scent, a mixture of smoke, tallow, and lye. Over this goes the apron, stiff and stained from the salt of old sweat and splashes of boiling linen water. With a scarf wrapped around your hair, you shove your feet into cracked leather shoes and move with the urgency of one already late, because The castle, mostly asleep, watches silently as you navigate its cold stone halls, your basket heavy with the previous day's laundry shirts, yellowed with sweat undergarments, damp with fear, linen napkins stained with wine, or worse. Some of these garments belong to nobility, carrying with them not just the dirt of the day, but the weight of expectation. Imagine the unforgiving weight of responsibility. A scorched tablecloth, a mere whisper of imperfection, has the power to shatter a girl's world. A missing chemise, a trifle in the grand scheme, could summon the whip's cruel kiss upon your back. Picture yourself standing by the well in the courtyard, your hands gripping two wooden buckets, the pump groaning under your touch. The morning silence is shattered by the cold, loud splash of water, a sound as jarring as the fear of failure. With each step, the yoke digs into your skin, a constant reminder of the burden you bear. You pass the smokehouse, the scullery, and finally reach the yard, where the great copper pot looms its blackened surface, a testament to yesterday's labors. Your hands tremble as you strike flint to light the fire beneath it. The air soon sharp with smoke, your fingers turning red with the biting cold. The water begins to steam, a ghostly wisp rising from the pot. You mix in a scoop of lye, the liquid clouding instantly a murky brew of hardship and necessity. Stirring with a long wooden paddle, you're careful, painfully aware of the burns still healing on your arms, a silent testament to past mistakes. The laundry sorting begins a ritual of meticulous care. Coarse linens here, fine ones there, each with their place, their destiny. The lord's shirts and the lady's undergarments are handled with a reverence born not from respect for the fabric, but from the fear of the consequences should they return flawed. Woolens, they stay separate. You've seen the tragic fate of a cloak reduced to a mere doll's garment through careless boiling. Then the soak. Linens are plunged into the hot lilac-scented water, stirred gently to release the stains and stench of daily life. Next, the scrubbing. At the flat stone slab by the well, you kneel, your hands pressing a servant's tunic against the rock, rubbing in black soap made of tallow. Each movement a silent plea for perfection. The fabric lies heavy in your hands, coarse against your skin, demanding more than mere effort. It insists on endurance. Each stroke you apply, your knuckles pale with the strain, the stone's roughness biting into the cloth, the fabric saturated and unyielding. You plunge the cloth into a barrel of water, watching as the liquid turns murky, a testament to your labor. A faint smile graces your lips. There's progress, though the water bites with its icy chill, numbing your fingers almost instantly. Yet you persist, switching hands, clenching them to stir the blood back into your veins. Your breath forms small clouds as you blow on your fingers, a futile attempt to bring warmth, while your wrists flex in a dance of discomfort. You ponder the others, the scullery maids, the wood carriers, each enduring their own cold. This shared struggle offers no comfort. Yet it's a stark reminder you are not alone in this frigid ordeal. Once the bulk of the dirt has been vanquished, you lug the linens to the stream that whispers behind the outer wall. There, amidst the gentle current, you wield a wooden paddle with purpose, striking the sheets, the tablecloths, each blow, sending ripples through the water. each splash seeping into your sleeves. The mud beneath your knees is a distant sensation, your focus solely on the task at hand. Around you, other washerwomen from the village perform the same ritual, their silence speaking volumes. There's no need for words. The symphony of water, wood, and weary sighs fills the air. After the linens have been beaten, rinsed, and wrung out by your aching hands, a process that leaves your shoulders crying out in protest, you carefully hang them out to dry. In the warmth of summer, they bask under the sun's caress. But in winter, you position them near the hearth, a silent prayer on your lips that they do not succumb to the flames. The damp fabric and the fire's flicker, an uneasy coexistence. You return to tend the fire, check the pot's boil, stir. The next batch, fetch more water, each action blurring into the next time, slipping away unnoticed. The endless cycle of labor grips you, haul, soak, scrub, wring, hang. By midday, your forearms are numb as if they've been drained of life itself. By afternoon, your lower back is a twisted mass of knots, a rope pulled too tight. Yet, in the midst of this relentless toil, there comes a fleeting moment of triumph when the lady's veil, once marred by a stubborn wine stain, emerges pristine. You lift it, its pure whiteness steaming against the dark, smoky sky, and a spark of pride ignites within you. Oh, the joy of such small victories! But alas, the celebration is short-lived. A fray at the hem catches your eye, and a curse slips through your lips. You'll need to mend it, hoping against hope that no one will notice. Once the laundry is hung gently swaying in the afternoon breeze, you find a moment's respite on an upturned bucket, just to breathe. From the pocket of your apron you pull out a piece of crust, hard and mostly stale, yet it's food, a simple luxury. You chew it slowly, savoring the moment, watching the linen dance like spirits in the wind. Back to the grind. You gather the dry, crisp shirts, inspecting each for any signs of mist stains or lingering dampness. The noble garments are sorted with care, each piece laid into a basket, with a cloth between like armor for the aristocracy. These you will deliver quietly, almost invisibly, making sure not to meet anyone's gaze, not to draw any attention. At the kitchen door you exchange a knowing nod with the scullery maid whose scent of fish, onions, and exhaustion tells the tale of her own hard day. Inside the cook's voice booms about missing cloths. Without a word, you hand over a bundle of kitchen rags. A grunt of thanks is all you receive before you slip away, your name forgotten, before it's even remembered. The final stop is the Lord's solar. A knock, a servant's face, a practiced bow as you pass the basket. No thanks, no recognition, just a closing door. Your hands are raw, your neck aches, your back feels like it's been through a wringer, but the garments are spotless. Nothing is missing. Today, you've done your part, invisible yet indispensable. The sweet relief of extinguishing the last of the fire's embers in the laundry yard, the steam rising like a ghostly dance into the twilight sky. The laundry tubs, now empty, reflect the fading light, and the soapstones are rinsed clean, their surfaces smooth and cool under your tired touch. A rogue sheet, caught by a mischievous gust, lies half in the mud, its once pristine white now stained with the earth. Quickly you snatch it up, your heart racing with the fear of being caught, but it's only slightly sullied. You'll wash it again tomorrow, You tell yourself a silent promise amidst the endless cycle of your duties. The setting sun casts long shadows over the battlements, painting them with hues of gold and crimson. You find a moment to sit your body, weary hands outstretched, to soak up the last remnants of the fire's warmth. The pain creeps back into your hands, a familiar ache that speaks of your labor. Your nails chipped and worn, your fingertips peeling, yet they still serve you well. In the quiet sanctuary of your apron pocket, there lies a small treasure. A scrap of linen, once part of a ruined towel, now becoming a handkerchief under your careful stitches. Tonight, there's no time for such gentle tasks, but the mere presence of this project is a whisper of hope, a piece of yourself amidst the endless toil. Dinner in the servants' hall is a simple affair. Pottage bread and warm ale consumed in silence. Your eyes downcast to avoid any unwanted attention. The meal ends, and you retreat to your pallet by the chimney, the day's work done, but the morrow promises no respite. Water soap, fire, and pain, your daily bread. As the linen dries, hung with precision, you steal a moment to sit on an upturned bucket, the simple act of breathing deeply a luxury. From your apron, you tear a piece of crust, hard and mostly stale, but it's sustenance. You chew slowly, watching the linen dance in the wind, a fleeting moment of peace, before you're back at it, collecting the now dry garments, folding them with care, checking for any overlooked stains or damp patches. The noble garments are treated with a special reverence, sorted into a basket, each item separated by a cloth, like layers of armor, protecting their delicate fabric from the world's harshness. You'll deliver these by hand, your footsteps as silent as the night, ensuring each piece reaches its intended owner, a testament to your unseen labor. With every step you take, you blend into the background, your presence as fleeting as a shadow, your mission to remain unseen, a silent specter moving through the castle's corridors. At the kitchen door, you exchange a subtle nod with a scullery maid, her scent a poignant mix of fish onions and sheer exhaustion. Inside, the cook's voice pierces the air, a sharp inquiry about missing cloths. Without a word, you pass her a neatly folded bundle of kitchen rags. Her grunt of acknowledgement is barely audible as you slip away, leaving no trace of your identity. Your final destination is the Lord's Solar. A soft knock and a servant answers. With a bow that speaks of countless repetitions, you present it the basket. No words of thanks, just the cold click of the door closing. Your hands, raw from the day's labor, throb with pain. Your neck aches. Your back feels like a twisted rag. Yet the day has been a success. No stains, no losses. Back in the laundry yard, you extinguish the fire, empty the tubs, and rinse the soapstones. A rogue sheet lies half in the mud, rescued swiftly before any eyes can spot the mishap. It's just a little dirty. You reassure yourself, a problem for tomorrow's toil. You harbor no complaints. What would be the point? As the sun dips behind the battlements, you finally rest, allowing the fading warmth of the fire to seep into your weary bones. Your hands now stretched out, pulse with returning pain. Nails, chipped fingertips peeling, yet they still serve their purpose. In your apron pocket, a scrap of linen, a piece from a long ruined towel, lies in wait. You've been stitching it into a handkerchief during stolen moments of peace. There's no time for such endeavors tonight. but its mere presence offers a whisper of personal solace. In the servants' hall, you partake in the simple fare of pottage bread and warm ale. You eat with haste, your eyes downcast, savoring the brief respite. Then you retreat to your pallet by the chimney, your shift relinquished to the night. Tomorrow looms ready to claim another day of silent service. Tonight, the routine persists unyielding as ever. Water, soap, fire, and pain. The familiar elements of your world, yet tonight, you find solace in sleep. You've witnessed this scene before: the horse's struggle, her potential for injury with every roll. With urgency, you fling open the storeroom, seizing a halter. She flails, nearly ensnaring your leg, but your grip is firm. You pull her up, guide her in tight circles. Her eyes, white with fear, gaze into yours. You whisper soothing words, your movements a dance of comfort. Eventually, the stablemaster arrives, his curses cutting through the night air as he takes charge. Trembling, you step back, your arms now cloaked in dirt and spittle, your tunic torn yet functional. She's standing now, a small victory in the darkness. You resume your duties where two new guests have arrived, their horses restless from the journey. With gentle words and steady hands, you calm them. One horse playfully tugs at your sleeve, another nearly crushes your toe with a misstep. You refill the troughs, gather more hay, sweep the aisle once more. With a bone needle and twine, you mend the girth strap, not a masterpiece, but serviceable. The sun dips below the outer wall. The wind begins to dance. You secure the stable doors, light the lanterns, and give each horse a final check. A pat here, a hoof, inspection there, ensuring their comfort. In the quiet of the loft, you climb the ladders, your feet raw from the day's toil. Covered in dust, hay, and sweat, you reflect. No kicks, no burns, no escapes. This indeed makes it a good day. Your dinner, simple yet earned, consists of cheese, a token of a favor, and a piece of hard onion bread too tough for the kitchen's standards. You chew thoughtfully, legs folded beneath you, savoring the peace that follows a day well spent. The castle under the cloak of night radiates a gentle warmth from the flickering torchlights, painting the scene in a soft, dreamlike glow. Laughter, like a melody, drifts from the great hall, while somewhere a minstrel's fingers dance over the strings of a lute, the music seeping through the cracks in the wooden walls. It's as if you're eavesdropping on a dream, isn't it? Yet here you are, amidst the quiet of the stables where the horses shift in their stalls, one snorting, another softly whinnying, all settling into the night just as you are. You recline in the straw arms tucked under your head. Your fingers ache, your knees crack with each stretch, and your back feels as rigid as a plank. But you're alive, and so are the creatures under your watch. Isn't that something to cherish? As you reflect, the tales of knights, kings, and grand tournaments come to mind. Yet those stories often omit the humble stable hand, the one who prepares the horse, who tends to the stalls, who whispers words of comfort to the steed that will carry a lord into either glory or demise. But that's all right, isn't it? You're not here to etch your name into history. Your purpose is to work, to care, and to find rest when the day's toil is through. The wind begins to rattle the shutters, and below hooves shuffle restlessly. Gradually, the weight of the day draws you into slumber. Your final waking thought lingers on a single perfect hoofprint in the mud, its edges kissed by frost, still steaming with the heat of the horse that left it behind. This fleeting mark won't last yet, for now it's real as you are. Awakening. With a start, you find the butt of your spear still in your grasp. You must have drifted off, but only for a fleeting moment, you assure yourself. The brazier beside you smolders its last orange coals crackling in the encroaching darkness. You rub your eyes, shift your weight on the cold stone bench, and gaze out through the narrow arrow slit beside you. The night's whispers urging you back into the world of the living. Oh, the solitude of the night, the relentless grip of the fog. And still you stand, watch a sentinel in the shadows. You, the castle guard, not heralded in tales, not clad in gleaming armor, nor celebrated in ballads, but a humble protector of the realm. Here you stand, your heart beating in rhythm, with the silence ready to face whatever peril might come, knowing full well that should disaster strike you would be the first to greet it. This is your second nocturnal vigil this week, and already your knees protest with a dull ache. With a weary shrug, you recall the bruise from yesterday's rigorous drill, a wooden sword striking your side with a force that echoed through your bones. The sergeant deemed it a lesson. In your mind, it was something far less charitable. Your task, though simple, demands vigilance. Guard the gate, watch the wall, and when the hour bell tolls, walk the perimeter. Report any anomalies, and above all, do not succumb to the seductive call of sleep. Now you strain your ears for the bell. Its sound distant and muffled, signaling perhaps 5 more hours until the dawn. The wind sings a mournful tune through the murder holes above, biting and relentless. Pulling your cloak tighter, the thin wool offers little solace against the chill, but it's all you're afforded. Your breath, like a specter in the torchlight, dances in the cold air reminiscent of smoke from a dying fire. You stretch your limbs stiff from the cold and begin a slow patrol around the interior of the gatehouse. The floor, slick with condensation and soot, is as familiar to you as the back of your hand. Every crack, every uneven stone etched into your memory from countless patrols. Outside, the wind grows fiercer, your cloak flapping wildly. Below in the courtyard, life stirs. A lone dog sniffs at the kitchen door, and somewhere a drunken soldier stumbles from the latrine, his tune barely a whisper, failing to shut the door behind him. You watch, but do not intervene. Tonight, such disturbances are not your concern. You inspect the iron hinges of the main portcullis, ensuring they are locked rusted and as steadfast as the night itself. Imagine the weight of responsibility that bears down on you when your weapon, your sole protector, jams at the very moment you need it most. You trace the edge of your spear with your gloved hand, feeling the biting cold seep into your bones. How different the day shift must be. Sunlight, the comforting warmth and companions to share stories with. Yet during the day, there's an endless cacophony of shouting drills and inspections that wear on the soul. But here in the silent depths of night, you are alone, almost forgotten by the world, except for those rare, heart-stopping moments when someone dares to breach the sanctity of your watch. Back inside the fortress, you settle into your chair once more, tilting your head back to briefly touch the cold, unforgiving stone wall. Your helmet now too cumbersome for the seventh hour of solitude lies discarded. You lean on your spear, not just as a weapon, but as a makeshift staff or a crutch. Perhaps it's both. Suddenly, a sound, not a voice, nor the distinct crunch of a footstep, but something just beyond the gate. You leap up, knees protesting, and stride toward the door, gripping your spear, holding your breath. It's nothing, a bird, perhaps, or the gate creaking in the frosty air. You pause, wait, then exhale slowly, returning to your post. A false alarm, yet you can't afford to be anything less than vigilant tonight. Sitting down again, your joints creak like an old drawbridge. From your pouch, you pull out a strip of dried meat, cold hard with a bit of gristle clinging to the edge. Dinner, if you can call it that. You recall a noble boy who once sneered at your meager meal as he passed his hand clutching a delicate pastry, the other waving a silk handkerchief. You said nothing then. Guards keep chewing, keep watching, keep standing until they physically can't anymore. Your mind drifts back to your first winter watch, when your toes were numb for days, fingers turned purple, and skin cracked and bled. But you learned adapting with wool wrapped inside your boots, layering grease cloth under your gloves. Survival in this harsh solitude requires such ingenuity. As the midnight bells toll their mournful sound echoing through the castle, you rise from your seat, embarking on your nocturnal journey. From the eastern tower to the west, your footsteps trace a path through the night. You pass the armory, its ironclad silence whispering tales of battles long past. The chapel, with its flickering light, catches your eye. Is that Father Anselm, his prayers weaving through the darkness? He, too, finds no rest in these troubled times. You ascend to the war walk, your gaze piercing the veil of mist that cloaks the woods beyond the outer bailey. The trees, black against the night, seem to dance in a ghostly ballet. The moon, a silent sentinel, casts a ghostly stripe across the fields, revealing nothing but the stillness of the night. You see everything, yet your thoughts drift to your mother's farm, where harvest moons once lit up the sky and the scent of cider filled the air. Is she still there amidst those memories? Returning to your post, the brazier's last ember flickers out. You let it die. The cold coal keeps your senses sharp. Just as the night deepens, the captain arrives, his boots echoing like a heartbeat on the stone floor. He surveys you, his eyes lingering just a moment too long before checking the ledger and giving the pike rack a single sharp tap. Still breathing, he inquires, his voice a mix of concern and duty. Barely. You reply, your voice as weary as your bones. With a grunt, he moves past his silence, a testament to the unspoken bond between you. The fog begins to lift the eastern sky, blushing with the promise of dawn. Soon the bells will summon the faithful to morning prayer, marking the end of your vigil. The day guards, fresh and loud, will take over their chatter, a stark contrast to the night's silence. You'll pass your spear to eager hands, retreat to the barracks, where your cot, though rough and smelling of mildew, awaits. Here, in the solitude of your own space, you'll find a moment's peace, shedding your cloak, setting aside your boots, and allowing the weight of the night to ease from your shoulders. As the soft touch of sleep beckons, a symphony of activity stirs within the castle walls. The yard bursts into life with the shouts of soldiers, the metallic clatter of buckets, and the cook's voice slicing through the night, issuing commands with the sharpness of a blade. You've earned your rest yet. The castle's vigilance cannot be paused. It demands your return this very night. Can you recall the night a mere year ago when shadows crept upon the gate? A band of desperate men, no more than 6 or 7, their minds clouded by hunger and the heavy grip of stolen wine, dared to challenge the castle's sanctity. After midnight, under the cloak of darkness, they assumed the war guard slumbered. But you were the vigilant sentinel. Your voice rang out. The bell tolled, and your cry pierced the silence. As others scrambled to arm themselves, you stood alone, the gate's guardian. A towering figure among them, wielding an axe, nearly breached the portcullis. Yet, with a swift thrust of your spear, you felled him. He crumpled at your feet, his life gurgling out into the cold earth. The aftermath left you sleepless for 3 long nights, yet gratitude was scarce. A mere crust of bread from the steward, a single nod from the sergeant, and the words, "You did your job." When sleep finally claimed you, and the marks of battle on your body began to fade, you were back at the gate. Now they knew you could be trusted to keep watch. You shift the grind of your bones against the cold stone, a familiar ache. Your hip knotted from years of such leanings, protests, but you pay it no mind. You've become adept at overlooking the gnawing hunger, the biting cold, the disdain of the nobility, the lurking dread of being the first casualty should true peril strike. Yet, amidst this, there blooms a quiet pride not celebrated in grand halls, but one that holds your posture firm, even when unseen. You are the silent protector of the castle, a role that, though unnoticed, is utterly vital. You adjust your gear, preparing once more to stand guard, your heart swelling with a sense of duty fulfilled. As the hour before bedtime approaches, your jerkin's leather straps, cracked and worn, seem to whisper tales of battles long past. The iron studs, once gleaming, now bear the dull sheen of countless encounters. Your helmet, its rim dented from a forgotten skirmish, dangles beside your bunk. It should be replaced, yet you know it won't be. It still works. You mutter a mantra of practicality over perfection. Around you, the other guards surrender to the embrace of sleep. Their deep, rhythmic breaths fill the room. Some snore, one twitches in the throes of a dream battle. How you envy them. They've fulfilled their duties for the day and now rest in peace. You, however, lie on your side, eyes tracing the mortar lines on the wall. They weave like roads on an ancient map, paths of uncertainty and adventure. Up above in the solar, the nobles recline in their feather beds, oblivious to the world below, where you lie with a knife beneath your pillow and your cloak bundled around your feet. Yet, if an alarm were to sound in the dead of night, it would be you, the ever-vigilant guard, they'd send first. Isn't that the essence of your duty? You close your eyes, granting yourself the luxury of not having to watch over anything for a few precious hours. When you rise, the silence is not because your comrades are asleep, but because they've long since vanished into the night. The scullery maid is nestled by the hearth, the stable boy lost in the straw, and the cook's snores barely echo through the deserted kitchens. Now, in these hollow hours that no one else wants, your true work begins. You are the night watchman, not clad in armor, nor wielding a sword. Instead, you traverse the shadowy corridors with a lantern in one hand and a key ring in the other. If a fire breaks out, if a scream pierces the silence, or if something stirs that shouldn't, it falls upon you to handle. Your shoes, patched with scraps of cloth, tread softly, moving without echo, ensuring the castle's peace through the night. Your attire, a robust weave of wool, thick and unadorned, is layered with extra warmth beneath. For the castle's corridors, at night, are as cold as a winter's bite, enough to chill one's very breath. As you ignite your lantern, it clicks with a sharp sound, its light casting elongated shadows that dance across the ancient stone walls. The tallow candle flickers its flame, a lonely sentinel in the vast echoing emptiness. First you visit the nursery, where two noble children lie, their slumber uneasy beneath the weight of embroidered quilts. Their names you do not know, but their ailments, their nocturnal habits, these you understand intimately. Gently, you adjust their covers, ensuring their rest remains undisturbed, then glide away a ghost in the night. The Hall of Tapestries follows, where grand scenes of valor and bloodshed unfurl in silent glory. Your lantern's flame reflects in the glassy eyes of knights long perished, their stories woven into fabric. Behind you a noise, a sharp cracking sound, yet you do not falter. You continue, for fear is not in your contract. Next, the library, its door locked, yet you check it nonetheless. The memory of the steward's week-long tirade over a manuscript gnawed by rats lingers. The door, firm under your touch, reassures you before you proceed. The chapel's silence is sacred, broken only by the faint glow of a votive candle at the altar. With a reverent hand, you extinguish it, not from disregard, but from a cautious heart, recalling the near disaster of last winter's ember. The candlestick, cold under your touch, confirms its safety. Ascending a narrow, winding staircase, your lantern held aloft. Your legs protest. This is your third patrol of the night, and the castle's expanse is vast. Your steps are measured, neither hurried nor lethargic. Your ears tuned to the castle's symphony of sounds, the groan of ancient wood, the skitter of rodents, the soft patter of condensation dripping from stone. You know these sounds intimately, what belongs, what does not. In the east wing, a window stands ajar, its latch undone from the inside during supper hours. This anomaly, this breach in routine, pricks at your senses. What has caused this oversight? The question lingers, as palpable as the night air seeping through the open frame. The lantern casts a dim glow as you place it gently on the floor, the soft click of the window closing, barely disturbing the night's silence. Why report it? The steward scoffs at the mere mention of apparitions, but your heart knows better. You believe. Moving on, you find yourself in the laundry room, where earlier the air was thick with steam from drying linens. Now they hang like frozen sentinels, stiffened by the cold. A tug at one cloth reveals a noble's cloak, its hem charred from carelessness near a torch. With a sigh, you fold it under your arm, the fabric whispering promises of repairs in the quiet hours before dawn. There, by the low glow of embers, your trembling fingers will work tirelessly to mend the damage before anyone notices. Next, the kitchen corridor beckons. A pot simmers quietly on the hearth, its contents barely steaming. Lifting the lid, you're greeted by the faint aroma of onion broth, now turned sour. You break off a piece of crusty bread, dipping it just enough to remind yourself of humanity, a small act of defiance against the loneliness that surrounds you. You don't dine with the others. Your schedule is not theirs. Yet you've discovered the secret nooks where a piece of cheese or a shriveled apple might be hidden away, perhaps left by the cook, who in her own way might be acknowledging your solitude. She doesn't admit it, but perhaps she sees in you a reflection of her past self wandering these same corridors. You check the stairs leading to the Lord Solar, but you do not ascend. Forbidden, you stand at the base, peering into a realm of luxury featherbeds, warmed slippers, and voices that command. A baby's cry pierces the quiet as you approach the servant dormitory. A gentle knock, and a door creaks open, revealing a mother, her eyes heavy with sleep. You offer her a flask of warm water, a small comfort in the night. She nods her gratitude silent but palpable. You leave her to her child, the walls around you seeming to pulse with a life of their own, not haunted, but vibrantly alive in the stillness of the castle. The very stones underfoot, polished smooth by the passage of 1,000 women, before you whisper tales of history as you make your final patrol just before dawn. Overhead, the ancient stone arch, sculpted by hands long turned to dust, stands as a testament to the enduring legacy of those who came before. In this moment, you don't feel insignificant. Instead, you feel an indelible connection to the tapestry of lives woven into the fabric of this place. This connection propels you forward. With the lantern's flame now dim, you tilt it, urging a flicker of light from the candle's dwindling stub. The light dances, casting playful shadows that stretch and leap along the corridor walls. As you navigate the lower storerooms, your vigilance sharpens. Here, amidst the quiet, the rats scuttle, and the potential for a spark to ignite a conflagration that could consume the castle lurks. Approaching the armory, a sight stops you cold. The door ajar beckons with a silent warning. Your pulse quickens as you step inside unarmed, save for your keys and your voice. Your gaze sweeps over the racks. Swords, pikes, axes, all present and accounted for. A quick check at the back wall reveals nothing amiss. Perhaps it was merely a draft or an oversight that left the door ajar. Still, with a firm hand, you close it and secure the bolt. Returning to your seat near the kitchen, you finally allow yourself a moment's respite. The lantern finds its place beside you as you unwrap the cloak you've carried, retrieving needle and thread. Mending is a task of patience. Your stitches are deliberate, each one a testament to the time and care you've invested in this castle. As you finish, the morning bells peal for prayer, signaling the castle's awakening. A door creaks, a groan escapes someone's lips, and the day unfurls anew. With the cloak neatly folded and returned to its peg, you ascend to your narrow cot above the linen stores. Here in this cramped space, you draw your legs beneath your skirt, curling into a form as closed as an unopened letter, and surrender to the embrace of sleep. Within the castle's ancient walls, you slumber cocooned in the timeless embrace of its shadowy realm. As night deepens, the very essence of time seems to slip away, leaving you adrift in a universe where only the castle reigns supreme. A silent sentinel of darkness whispers, and the soft exhalations of ancient stones. The castle lives breathing with the rhythm of the night. Its walls, alive with whispers, seem to expand and contract with each ghostly sigh. The rafters above groan, each creak a distinct voice in the nocturnal choir. You've come to understand these sounds, distinguishing between the cries of aging timber and the playful whispers of the wind. In your apron, you carry a pouch of salt, not for culinary use, but as a shield against the unseen. The old cook, with eyes full of ancient wisdom, once whispered that spirits abhor salt. If you ever see something amiss, scatter it at their feet. You've never needed to use it, yet the pouch remains a chillant guardian. In the east corridor, near the chapel's hallowed ground, lies a patch of stone, colder than the winter's breath. No matter the warmth of the day, you always step over it. A silent ritual, a habit carved by the whispers of the castle's own soul. No one speaks of it. It's a secret held by the stones themselves. Late at night, you might encounter a nobleman's lover flitting from one chamber to another, their footsteps as soft as the moonlight. You avert your gaze, your keys jingling softly, a melody of discretion. Secrets are not yours to hoard, but they are yours to bear, like the weight of the keys at your waist. Once you caught the steward, his hands full of candles pilfered from the chapel. His eyes met yours in a silent pact of understanding. A week later, a thick blanket appeared on your cot, an unspoken gift, a thank you, wrapped in silence. These are the quiet transactions of castle life, where debts are paid not in gold, but in silence, in gestures, in the soft rustle of fabric. You too are versed in this silent language, especially in the hushed hours before dawn, when the world still sleeps. Sometimes you linger beneath the grand window overlooking the courtyard, the lantern's light dimming, casting a soft glow on the stone beneath, as if to say, "Here in this moment, I exist with you, in the heart of this ancient breathing castle." As you pause for a moment, lifting your gaze skyward, the stars gleam with a fierce, distant light, eternally out of grasp, yet eternally present. Despite the day's turmoil, its scorching trials and shattered dreams, the stars faithfully reappear. Your mind drifts to the tales your mother once spun, her voice a soothing balm in the night. She'd speak of the night possessing ears, listening intently to the women who toiled while the world slumbered. Warnstambunt 43:27. Perhaps indeed it does. You've murmured your own silent wishes into its tranquil silence. Wishes grounded in practicality, yet none have been granted. Still, their silent vigil brings you solace. With a deep cleansing breath, you stretch your weary limbs and resume your solitary trek. The same corridors, the same barred gates, the same stretching shadows, because duty calls, as it always has. 1:43. And tonight, as on countless nights before, it's your duty to answer. Thank you for joining us on this heartfelt journey through time and emotion. Your presence means the world to us. We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below, to like this video if it touched your heart, to share it with those who might find comfort in its message, and to subscribe for more stories that resonate with the soul. Until next time, keep looking up and dreaming on.